Peter Buswell here from Dr. VoIP. One of the most often asked questions about deploying ShoreTels is how to provide high availability solutions, how to recover from server failures, how to assure that we can continue our business if something bad happens to the ShoreTel headquarters server or any of the distributed voicemail servers. So in this video series, we're going to take a look at several options from very low cost but very powerful HA strategies right on through to some more sophisticated strategies. All will be built on the vSphere ecosystem as well as the Amazon Web solution. So we're going to look at both private clouds and public clouds and a hybrid solution that will cover both. So to do this, we need some lab environment. And the lab environment is going to have at least a ShoreTel headquarters server. It's going to have a ShoreTel distributed voicemail server, at least one. Maybe we'll play with 2 or 3 to look at how server failure affects multi-site deployments. And we will do everything in a virtual environment, so there won't be any hardware at all. So we'll use the ShoreGear virtual switches available in ShoreGear 14 and higher. We'll probably use soft phones and SIP trunks. So again, this is a lab environment, but it will serve our purpose well to demonstrate high availability options. We're going to have some requirements for vSphere, and we'll be using ESXi. You could use Hyper-V from Microsoft if you like, but in this clip I will be using vSphere tools as well as some Amazon Web Service. So we're going to have a requirement for ESXi hosts, some SCSI storage, and I'll show you where that fits. We'll need a router, and I'll show you how to do that in software. And we'll need some workstations for PCs for administration and communicator. So this is the vSphere ecosystem that we want to establish. And if you're fortunate enough to have the budget to go get yourself 3 bare metal hypervisors, 3 machines that can support VMware ESXi, go for it. Lucky you. I'm going to assume we're just poor as church mice here, and I'm going to show you how to build this entire infrastructure, including the SCSI storage. We're going to do this on a laptop. We're also going to take a look at vCenter. If you have ESXi deployed, in this scenario, we're going to have 2 or 3 of these hosts, each of them running multiple virtual machines. We're going to need some administrative assistance, and that's where the vCenter comes in, right? So you can log in to an ESXi hypervisor with an admin account and do everything you need. The lab components are going to be built out on a single Windows laptop. I'm running a Windows Toshiba satellite. It's running Windows 8, and the only unusual aspect of this laptop is that it's equipped with 16 gigabits of memory. So that's the limiting factor here. You got to get a laptop that can support at least 16 gigs. You're going to go to the VMware website. You're going to download a copy of VMware Workstation. Get yourself an evaluation copy. ShoreTel virtual deployment. You're going to want to move your data stores off to an iSCSI device. So I'm going to virtualize an iSCSI solution by using a product called OpenFiler, which you can also download a free copy of. And lastly, FreeSCO. This is a router, it's implemented entirely in software. You can download it from the free SEO site or go to the Dr. VoIP site, and in the member portal, you'll be able to download a virtual machine I've already set up. It's a 3-interface knockoff of Cisco. In fact, it's pronounced free Cisco. So in and of itself, it's an exciting little product. I find it very useful and have it on all the field engineering laptops. So again, VMware Workstation is going to be installed on your laptop. And then in the VMware Workstation, we're going to load 1, 2, 3 copies of ESXi. So we'll have 3 host machines. And we're going to load OpenFiler for our iSCSI device and FreeSCO for our router. And that hopefully will get us to an environment that looks something like this. We'll have 3 host machines, a SCSI data store. We'll take a look at vSphere to manage this, just as an aside. And at this point, we'll have the workstation lab environment we need so that we can then go install ShoreTel and play with some high availability solutions. You're now looking at a VMware workstation. So this is a Type 2 hypervisor installed on my laptop. And inside of that, I have installed ESXi host 1 and ESX host, because we're actually going to install 3 ESXi host machines. So these 3 machines here are actually running on this laptop inside of VM Workstation. And in those, we will install the 3 ESXi hosts. And on top of that, we will have a ShoreTel headquarters server. We might put another ShoreTel TVM here. We may put a ShoreGear phone switch here. We may put a couple of PCs here. We're going to spread them out over the different machines just so that we can experience setting up some failure scenarios, and also to have you understand how the networking applies in the VMware virtual switches. So I'm going to, again, this is not a tutorial on VMware. VMware, go to their site. There's a couple of excellent installation videos, and you can go to the horse's mouth to get what you need in terms of installing a new virtual machine. And what we're going to do is install the 3rd ESXi hypervisor. So next, and at that point, when you select the machine type that you're going to install, it wants to know what you want to be backward compatible with. So if you have an older copy of Workstation, I'm using Workstation 11. I'm not worried about being backward compatible. Go ahead and hit next. And at this point, we're going to browse and look for the ISO image that these virtual shares require. Okay, there we go. There's our VMware hypervisor. Let's say open it. Now, when you load the ISO image, it's going to set up a configuration for your machine. I'm going to go ahead and name this guy consistent with the other guys, ESXi. This will be -3. Okay, and where you're going to install your virtual machine, and then number of processors, cores per processors. You can play around with this. I'm going to set this up for dual core. And then this is memory for the virtual machine, right? So the ISO file for this type of machine, spec'd it out at 4. You can go ahead and kick that up if you want. 4 gigabits is the minimum required, although you'll see after we get this started, we could drop it down to 2 and it won't hurt anything. And are we going to bridge with the network adapter of this laptop, or are we going to use some network translation? I'm going to use a network translation here and isolate these virtual machines from the rest of the network that the current NIC card on this laptop is attached to. We'll go ahead, our SCSI controller, and we're going to select SCSI as the recommended data store, and we're going to create a new virtual disk for this machine rather than share it with something else. We're going to set it up for 40 gigs. You can go ahead and change that, and at that point it's going to summarize the details of this. You can always go back in here and edit this, hit finish, and it's going to go build this machine. So at this point, you've got your basic, we are now inside that machine. Now it's a little confusing, but you're all on the fast reader group. This ESXi host is IP address 192.168.136.134. We pointed a browser at this machine to download the client, the VMware client that we will use to install our ShoreTel. So for example, we will right-click and install a new virtual machine. We're going to do that in the next video. So I just wanted this video to be focused exclusively on setting up your lab. So by way of review, here's our Windows machine. Okay, and on the Windows machine, we've installed Workstation, VMware Workstation. And the VMware Workstation, I have a couple of, I have the ESXi1, open file, free SEO, my own computer, ESXi2, and we just installed ESXi3. Then we went to ESXi3 and downloaded the VMware vSphere client, this guy, and he is now pointed at that virtual machine. So I assure you that it is very possible to get all this working on one machine. I have in fact had as many as, I don't know, 3 or 4 Windows servers running in each of the ESXi hosts installed under VMware. Now the performance is going to suck, but this is a lab. And it works very nicely, and it'll help us with our ShoreTel lab work as we look at high availability options.